I've always been a tinkerer, maker. On your episode with Ethan Carter, I know him and I share this feeling. I never knew what to call myself. I wasn't quite an artist. I do make, artsy kind of pieces, but I didn't consider myself an artist. When I found this community and kind of fell into that creative slash maker genre or whatever you want to call it, I had finally had a name for it. So I started always been a tinkerer and maker. I grew up spending a lot of time with my grandmother, so I did needlepoint and crocheting and knitting, sewing. My dad always had a workshop, so I played around with wood and saws, and he had a lathe back when I was probably early teens, and fell in love with doing that, and then didn't do it for 30 years, and then a few years ago, kind of wanted a relaxing outlet. I remembered how relaxing that was to go over in the shop and just turn a piece of wood.
Welcome to Create and Connect podcast, where makers, artists of all kinds talk about how they connect with others through their creations. My guest today is Emmett Newsome of Deadrise Woodcrafts. I'm asking Emmett how he connects through his wood turning, how chip plays a part in his wood shop, and how he ended up working so hard at Maker Camp, especially in the Weaver tent. Help me welcome Emmett. Thanks so much for joining me on Create and Connect, Emmett.
Thank you for having me. How are you been?
I'm well. And to let the listeners know, this is take two for us because I don't know which one of us was having technical difficulties. I was definitely one of them. So I appreciate you being so kind and coming back on.
Oh, I don't mind at all. I'm sure it was user error on both ends. So, computers never make a mistake, so it had to be us.
Well, it was definitely me because I am a two-click caveman, and I like Windows 97. If it takes me more than 2 clicks, I like to throw the computer out the 97th window.
Yeah. So, yeah, not a big deal to come back and do this over again. So,
yeah, it's great. So I want to ask you first about Deadrise Woodcrafts because it sounds very ominous. What does Deadrise mean, and how did that become your name?
It does, and I had a lot of people in the beginning when I first started my Instagram and things. They thought it had to do with like zombies or that kind of thing. It doesn't. It's actually, I grew up in Virginia on the Chesapeake Bay, and the Deadrise is the hull shape of a boat that watermen use as like a workboat. So it's kind of like a little throwback to my past of where I grew up and where I came from. So.
But you're not in Chesapeake now.
No. I moved 2001. I moved to right outside of Pittsburgh to go to photography and art school. Met my wife there, and I've been here ever since.
That's great. Yeah, my brother's in Pittsburgh, and he is in Point Breeze.
Okay. Yeah. So next time you're in town, we'll have to hit up our local.
Permane Brothers.
Yeah, we'll hit Permane Brothers, or I can take you to some places that are, in my opinion, just as good. So.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And then we got to stop it up.
Good, but.
Yeah, well, I've done that a bunch of times, going down to the Strip, especially for a Pirates game or a Steelers game, and I love how everybody, what is it, Yaz or something?
Yens.
Yens.
Yeah, that's their like y'all, like you guys or y'all is Yens in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's a fun place. I'll go to Peace, Love, and Donuts, and then go to Leaf and Bean and get a cigar and espresso. It's a good time.
Yeah, the Strip is a very interesting, eclectic mix of food and culture. It's kind of a really cool place. It's fun to go down there and just walk around, especially on a game day. A Steeler game day for is even better, but it's a little busy.
I think they also have a maker shop down there. I think it's called Turnpike. Maybe it's Turnpike Woodcrafts.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, my brother got me a piece from them. It's really nice. It's husband and wife, and they do some nice work.
I'll have to check them out.
So tell me how you started making. Where did tinkering, crafting, making begin for you?
I've always been a tinkerer, maker, kind of like on your episode with Ethan Carter, because I know him and I share this feeling. But I never knew what to call myself. I wasn't quite an artist. I do make artsy kind of pieces, but I didn't consider myself an artist. And when I found this community and kind of fell into that creative / maker genre, or whatever you want to call it, I had finally had a name for it. So, but I started always been a tinkerer and maker. I grew up spending a lot of time with my grandmother, so I did needlepoint and crocheting and knitting, sewing. My dad always had a workshop, so I played around with wood and saws, and he had a lathe back when I was probably early teens, and fell in love with doing that, and then didn't do it for 30 years, and then a few years ago, kind of wanted a relaxing outlet. I remembered how relaxing that was to go over in the shop and just turn a piece of wood. And then I wasn't making anything. I made a couple lamps and things like that, but very crude. And so I just went on Amazon one day and bought what I needed and made a little bench in my workshop and started turning pens and small stuff. So,
What year did you buy the lathe?
2019. So right before, kind of seemed like the maker community kind of blew up. I kind of got into it, the right time, because that's kind of when everybody started. It seemed that way anyway.
Just before the shutdown?
Yep. Yeah, I got it. May of 2019 is when I bought it and started my Instagram page. And I thought when you had an Instagram page, you had a YouTube page. And so I kind of tinkered in making some videos, and don't really do much anymore just because, I didn't get the following. I wasn't doing it to make money. And it just took a lot of my time to make the videos. I enjoyed making the videos. There's a lot of time there.
Well, you can tell the quality of your videos. Your videos are very sharp. They're very cohesive. You can tell that you have some sort of training in design and editing. And you can see the story happen without any narration, which is fantastic.
The bad thing about the YouTube videos is that they're fun to do, but you take 4 or 5 hours to make what you're making, and then take 4 or 5 hours to edit a video to get 60 or 70 views. I felt like I wasn't getting anything out of it.
Yeah, a lot of squeeze for no juice.
Yeah. And I had fun doing it. I really did enjoy making videos because it was a lot like photo editing. I had fun doing that. I still do some of that for fun. I enjoy Instagram a lot.
Your videos really show your talent in that field. You shared with me earlier that you have an education background in photography, and that's not your day job.
No. I fell in love with photography probably in middle school, all through high school. It was my main creative outlet. I really enjoyed the darkroom side of it, and they were black and white photos and darkroom and that kind of thing. I bought all the equipment to do that after I got married, because I met my wife at art school. We never did anything with it. I sold the equipment. And honestly, today, the only camera I own is an iPhone. But I still enjoy photography.
You can do some amazing things with the iPhone.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's not worth having a camera. I mean, I'm sure there is reasons to have nice cameras now, but an iPhone's a pretty decent camera, and for what I do.
You and your wife met at art school. Do you collaborate on anything?
No, she doesn't really do much with creative stuff. Wasn't really her thing. She's stepped away from it completely. But woodworking and the artsy stuff is my thing, and she's happy with it being my thing.
That's great. When you started picking up wood turning again, what was your main focus other than stress relief? Were you looking to learn a new level?
Yeah. Because I never really made. Once I started looking into buying the lathe, like when I was in middle school working on my dad's lathe. We basically had a lathe, and I'd throw a piece of pine on it and turn some shapes, make small bowls. But we didn't have really the equipment. But I started looking at the kits that you can, like pizza cutters and pens and just the different things that you can buy to make on a lathe, and they're all pretty small and pretty simple to make. So I was like, oh, this is really cool. I can make something with a purpose other than just a piece of wood with shapes. Like I said, I did drill some holes through a piece of wood, when I was a kid, and make a lamp or something like that. But other than, I thought maybe I could sell some stuff, but I actually enjoy more giving stuff away as gifts.
Well, that's the greatest connection that you can have is something that you made yourself and you know you're giving it to somebody you have affection towards, and you're giving more than just an object. You're giving your time, you're giving your creativity.
People
and
seem
it's
to
an
like that
expression-
too. Something
Yeah,
that's handmade.
and it's an expression of your love. I mean, it's
Right.
the purest form of giving, which is fantastic.
I still have an Etsy store that I put things in that I make because unfortunately, if you don't have a place to sell your creative endeavors and you don't give them away, give all of them away, I make something all the time and then I end up with a lot of things. And I enjoy the stuff that I make, and sometimes it's hard for me to give it away because I want to keep everything. But
Right.
it's the reason I have about 15 or 20 different pens on my desk at work because I go to a pen show. My father-in-law also I got him turning on the lathe as well. He does do craft shows and stuff. But we go to a pen show every year that we've gone to for the last 6 or 7 years. But every time I'm there, I buy pen kits that I want, and I buy pen pieces of wood that I want. So then it's hard for me to give them away when it's like, I picked that out because I liked it, but I also don't need another pen.
So there's actually a pen making fair, and
there's a few of them. Yeah, we go to. There's one. It's called the Mid-Ohio Valley Pen Turners Gathering. It's a long name, but happens in just outside of Ohio, West Virginia line area. It's about
the tri-state area.
Yeah, it's about 3 hours from here, from Pittsburgh.
Well, I say that a bit sarcastically because my brother talks about the tri-state area.
Yeah.
We're from Long Island, so the tri-state area for us was New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. So
Right.
we're not thinking
different tri-states.
Yeah, and it's certainly not West Virginia, but I know that it's a beautiful state.
Yeah, it's a fun little gathering. It's kind of more of it's like maker camp for pen turners. It's more of a gathering of people to just hang out for the weekend. It's just a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday long, just good hangout. It's usually a pretty small show. It has been pretty big. It kind of grew at the beginning and it's kind of slacked off at the last couple of years. There's always like the talk of, is it going to happen next year? But we have a good time. My father-in-law and I ride down. We stay in a hotel that night. It's a good time.
And where's that, Wilmington?
No, it moves around. It's close every year. This year it was in Vienna, West Virginia is where it was. That's where it started. So it's right down, like I said, it's down there. I can't think of the name in Ohio for where they were this year, but it's within 15 minutes of Vienna, West Virginia.
And is it in-person turning where you can get hands-on?
Yep, they have hands-on classes. They have demonstrators like almost all day, every day. And then they have a sales floor where they have different vendors that come that sell different types of wood or different types of resin, resin vendors and pen kit vendors. There's people that come sell from Florida and Arizona. I mean, people drive to it to bring their stuff there, so. There's another big one also called the Mid-Atlantic Pen Turners Gathering or Pen Show or something. That one's right outside of D.C. in Manassas, Virginia. We've been to that one once. That was
amazing.
Really nice show too. It's just to do both of them in the same year. It's kind of hard.
Well, you're at a lot of different events and you're moving and shaking for sure. And to have those outlets are fantastic. And it's nice when you niche down into your specific making, like when they have the timber in or hammer in up at the Blackthorn. And then, you can go down in North Carolina. I know that they have a woodworking fair down there that they had in late October, early November. And I was watching Lee Northrup. He went down there. Jimmy and Derek went down there. And there's a guy who's in North Carolina. He's the artisan pirate, and he dresses up like Jack Sparrow. And he does a lot of crafting. It's really nice to see how, all over you have the maker community gets pretty close.
Yeah. I went to a really nice one. Carolina Boots put on one last spring in Altoona, Pennsylvania. I guess they have a manufacturing plant there for Carolina. Jimmy, Derek, Graz, Andy Berkey. I'm trying to think of. There was Jackman was there. There was quite a few people there. And it was just come out, hang out at a restaurant, have dinner. Carolina provided the food and the drinks and the hangout for a few hours, and it was really fun. I actually just won a pair of boots from Carolina on Instagram. I got him the other day, and when in communicating with the guy, I'm like, you guys planning on having that again? He was like, it's in the works. So I was like, oh, that's good, because I had a good time. It's about an hour and a half for me, but we have with my day job, we have a center out there, two of them, so in Altoona. So I made it a work day thing.
Oh, that's great. So you're really active in the maker community, so much so that you just give your time away. You volunteer at the Weaver tent at Maker Camp. You volunteer with the Working Hands podcast Maker Swap during that. So tell me how you got involved by volunteering and being so active and giving your time away and being so generous.
I went to Maker Camp in 2023. Was that the downpour year? Yeah. That was my first year, and went there as a participant, spectator, whatever you want to call it. The Maker Swap was kind of I enjoyed that, when I found out about it. Back up a couple years in 2020 when I was trying to push myself on YouTube and Instagram and getting myself out into the community. I did a Maker Swap every month for the year. I actually did 2 every month for the year of 2020. So it pushed me to do a couple videos and that kind of thing. So I really liked the swap. Getting something, giving something kind of thing. So I told Keith, hey, if you and Tony need any help with anything, don't hesitate to ask. I knew Keith other than from the camp. So yeah, he asked me to help that year, and I helped him with I think the only thing I helped with that year was the giving stuff out. So so obviously the next year was my first year helping Ethan. Him and I just became really good friends after, right around 2019, right? I first got in the community. I reached out to him with a kind of small leather project I was doing. And he stepped up and helped me kind of get through that and learn what I was doing. He sent me a couple, cheap tools that he was like, don't buy that stuff just for this project. I'll send it over to you. Because I'm not a leather worker at all. So he reached out and was like, hey, our tent's getting bigger and Austin's allowing me to bring somebody in to help. I have Keith, but he's let me have another person. Would you be interested? And, my response was, Ethan, I really love that you're asking me, but I'm not a leather worker. Like, how am I going to help these people go through a class? And he's like, oh, no, I run the class, and Dennis is going to be there this year. That was the first year for Dennis. And all you got to do is just, help us. If we need something, run, get it. If between classes, just set up and take down. If somebody needs a supply, that kind of thing. You're not teaching. So I was grateful. And in that year, Austin was nice enough to give me a silver pass to get into the camp, which didn't really use because it's really hard to get away from the tent to do. I mean, as a participant, if you're not in line an hour before at some of these places, you don't get to do it. So
especially in the Weaver tent.
The Weaver tent. So
yeah, because the guy 21 grams, he'll just stop you and say, get out.
Yeah, he's rough like that. The talent in that tent, they're pretty high maintenance.
Yeah, I think you referred to them previously as Beyonce and Swiftie.
Yeah, it's Beyonce and Taylor Swift of Maker Camp run that tent. Yeah. Austin gave me a silver pass. I didn't have a room and I didn't have a food pass, which was fine. I had paid for the year before, but I was like, that's fine. I can camp and cook. So that's what I did that year, even though I stayed Thursday night in the tent, and then Friday night, Ethan came into town and was like, hey, I got an extra bed. I got a two bed room. If you want to come in with me. I didn't let him finish the sentence. I was like, absolutely. You don't have to finish the sentence. I'm not staying in a tent because, as you know, October in upstate New York, it's a bit chilly.
It can drop down, yeah. So
I was perfectly happy not being in a tent. I'm a helper. I enjoy helping. I enjoy giving my time. I'm an early riser, so I would get up in the morning. We were off campus, so I would take a shower. Ethan would drive me back over to camp because I didn't have my car because it was set up like a camp kitchen out of the back of it. I would make breakfast at like 6 or 6:30, 7 o'clock, whatever time I came over. And then I would head over to the pavilion and just pick up like last night's garbage from the night before. Try to pick up cans and put them in the recycling and just pick up garbage. And I think Austin appreciated that. So this year, same thing. Ethan asked me if I wanted to help again. absolutely. But this year he had asked for a room with 2 beds. So, I just kind of wanted to know what I needed to pack. Don't waste the time packing the tent and stuff and to bring with me if I didn't need it. Austin gave me a gold pass this year, so I didn't even have to have a place to eat or anything. It was really nice this year. Other than I brought stuff for lunch, but that's because that's not provided.
Oh, the food is fantastic.
Oh yeah, the food's great. It's
It's surprisingly how good it is.
It's good, and it's surprisingly how many people they get through that dining room at breakfast and dinner. I don't mind because I like to cook. So the year before, it didn't bother me at all, like cooking myself. But it's much easier when I don't have to do it.
Yeah, because you're exhausted. You and Keith in the Weaver tent are the backbone and making everything seamless. So the talent can come in and present. You do need a third or a fourth person because you need a break. Keith needs a break. You just need to go to the bathroom or just take a breather. Yeah,
I got to do the knife making from Ameribraid this year. I saw that as they were setting up and people walking around with one. So I told Ethan, I'm like, I am going to take off one. If I can get there between classes, great. But I do want to do that. And he was like, oh, absolutely. Do what you want to do. I think I made chopsticks the year before. I think that's the only thing I got to that year. I'm trying to think back, but I don't remember doing much that year. And then of course I helped Keith and Tony over with the maker swap. So on Sunday, I just let Ethan know, hey, when the swap's going off, I'll be gone at that time. But it works out because usually Ethan and Keith and Dennis, I don't think Dennis brought something this year, but they're busy with the class, so they'll give me their tickets. So I come back over with 4 things, mine and their 3 things. And I joke with them all and tell them I get to pick the best thing, so.
As you should.
No, I keep it very, what I won is what I won, so.
No, but it's all good stuff.
Oh, it's all beautiful stuff. Yeah, I actually won Tony's item last year, and I won it the year before as well. So it's funny that I got the same maker's piece 2 years in a row. So.
Tony Peps, yep. Tony Pepperoni.
Yep. Yeah, he made a beautiful candy dish urn looking thing this year, and
that's the only good thing from the guy is something turning. Otherwise, he's slowing work talented. Down. I can't say anything nice about him. The guy's from Yonkers, and he's in the Long Island group, and I don't know why. That's like having somebody in West Virginia in the Pittsburgh group.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no reason for it.
But yeah, his turning is next level. He turned some beautiful. He turned a vase the year before that I won. It's in my guest room, and next level beautiful stuff.
Yeah, it looked like it was from a burl. It was beautiful.
The one he did this year, the different types of wood and the candy dish was confiscated by my mother-in-law. So it's at their house with candy in it. 'Cause she was like, this is absolutely gorgeous. And I was like, you're welcome.
As long as she's keeping it full.
Yeah. I'm like, you're welcome to take it as long as it's full that I can eat when I'm over there. But so, yeah, it's on her table. So how's Chip doing? He's good. He helped me just this past Saturday shovel my driveway. It was for his first snow. That was a fun project, and I was very surprised at Maker Camp when I got there and people were asking me if he was there because I was not expecting people to even noticed those videos. Well, that's where the quality of the video comes out of the storytelling and is just fun to have. And I know that Dave from Dave 3D DIY, yeah. He had Puppet with him at one point, and he abandoned his likeness because he just said there wasn't a lot of interest. But I like Chip, and I like seeing what he does. And he even went on vacation with you, which was fun. We went out to Yellowstone in the Tetons back in the fall, right before Maker Camp, a couple weeks before Maker Camp. That was a fun project. It was a boredom project. I didn't want to make a little shop buddy, and he was just going to kind of stand or sit on my maker's shelf of gifts that I've gotten from people and stuff I've made at Maker Camp and that kind of thing. Yeah, I made a little stop motion video because I hadn't done one of those in a long time, just for the hell of it. Stuck it on Instagram, and then people were messaging me like, "Hey, is this going to be a new like his adventures, and is this going to be a new series?" And I was like, "Well, I hadn't planned on it being it, but the interest was there." It seemed, not like I'm a 60,000 follower page or anything, but to have 4 or 5 people ask me the same question, I was like, "Yeah, maybe that would be fun to take him on vacation and go hiking and that kind of thing. So
Yeah, that is a lot of fun because I had people come up to me at Maker Camp and they were asking me about the podcast and who I was getting on next and what I was planning on doing. And it really gives you an invigorated sense
yeah,
of work and what it means to the community when you're sharing what's going on. I don't really care to share a lot of personal things. I did discuss with a few other Instagrammers, content creators, but they're all maker space people. There's some level of privacy that you want, and then there's things that you're happy to share. Chip is really fun to see, and you do a really nice job with the stop motion and to watch the lathe going to make a miniature knife turning.
yeah, that
knife.
was that was another thing. Like, so after I made him and was like, let's make this little story of him coming out of the pen blanks and he's been making a backstory that he's been living there watching me turn. So so I pushed myself to make a little copy of a Easy Wood Tools gouge, and I think it came out pretty good actually myself. So
Yeah, it was fun.
So that did that, and then he went to the he went to the Tetons, and then the for Yellowstone. I actually forgot him in the car. He was usually in my pocket the entire vacation. And we got out and went on our first hike in the Yellowstone. And I forgot him. And then we went on a bus tour. So people were like, hey, why didn't he go to Yellowstone? He was sick that day. But honestly, he was in the cup holder of the rental car that I forgot him in. So I was kind of upset that I left him and didn't get, to put him places. And it's funny too, because it kind of pushes you when you're out in public taking pictures of this little wooden doll, basically. People were looking, I got some looks in the Tetons. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, it's very fun. And now Chip needs a girlfriend. You got to make her out of cherry wood.
Yeah, I mentioned that to my wife the other night, and she thought that was hilarious. And what's funny is I've actually inspired some people because I know Keith from Blackthorn Concepts messaged me the other day and was like, he 3D printed a little robot, and he was like, I'm making one, and I was like, oh, at first glance, the picture, I thought he had forged it. Like I just kind of looked at it in the middle of the night. It was on my phone. Actually, it might have been on my watch, and I thought he had forged a little man out of steel, and I was like, oh, I thought you forged it and then made it rusty, so you could call him Rusty. And he was like, oh, now I need to do that the next time I go out and forge. So.
Oh, that's cool.
But I know a couple other people have said they need to make something like that. Or I know, again, the talent, Mr. Foster wanted me to make him one. I have to think about it, see if he treats me good enough. Maybe I can make him one.
Oh, well, he just wants one for a new edition that he's planning on.
Yeah. I did make one for one of the people from one of the pen turning show. It's a guy about my age, but he travels with his grandmother to these shows. She has a great time. They're super great people. I brought him to the pen show and was taking pictures, and she just fell in love with him, and she was like, I need one. She was like, pick out any piece of wood you want as long as you're going to make me one. So I made her one. It's on my page. And then I got the news over the weekend that her house burnt down. So he reached out to me and said, if I send you another piece of wood, could you make Grandma another little guy? So I was like, absolutely. Absolutely. You don't even have to send me a piece of wood, but if there's something you want me to use. But yeah, she lost everything and a couple pets. And
oh my goodness. Is she okay?
She's okay. She had no insurance. That's a heartbreaker. They had a GoFundMe. I haven't looked at it in a couple of days. My father-in-law and I both did a little donation. But it was shared on that page of the pen turners group. When I realized who it was, I'm like, oh man, that was Grandma's house. So hopefully they're doing good with the GoFundMe. And
yeah, say a prayer for her.
Yeah, it was.
Well, you're very generous, not only with doing small things like giving away pens or making another chip friend, but you're very generous with your time. One example being volunteering at multiple stations at Maker Camp, but you also go to Camp Arrowhead, and there's a few other places that you volunteer your time. What are the different organizations that you're involved with?
I like the Camp Arrowhead. This was the first year they did. It's a boys' camp in North Carolina. The guys from Camp Arrowhead come to Maker Camp. They run the flint knapping and what's the other stuff they do?
They do the arrowhead.
The arrowhead, flint knapping, and they do something else too.
Was it fire starting?
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah. Bushcraft, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
But they run a camp for boys all summer long. And this year, the last week of the camp was like a mini maker camp. So I heard them on Keith and Tony's podcast. I heard Max on Keith and Tony's podcast talking about this new idea they had. First year they were going to do it, and they were looking for volunteers if anybody was interested in coming to teach the boys the skill, anything. They were looking for woodworker, blacksmith. They were looking for someone to do sewing or leatherworking. I tried to get Ethan, but again, the talent's his demand is too high, so he didn't have the time to request off for a week for our boys camp. But I'm going to work on him this year. But yeah, so I reached out, and I'd never taught a class or anything like that, and Max was great, and I kind of had a little Zoom meeting with him and another guy that runs the camp, and they were excited. So I started making pens. They're really easy to make. You walk away with something after these kids are in high school, so it's something they could use when they go back to school in the fall. And I think they're a fun, easy, quick project that has a purpose. It's something you'll use every day. The only problem is they had lathes and they had turning tools, but they had no other pen making supplies. So I reached out to the community, just kind of threw it out there, started a Amazon wish list, and I got donations from everything that was needed for the class, and enough to leave a ton there for them for other classes. Pen kits and turning tools and assembly tools and glue. I mean, Total Boat sent out glue, Starbond sent out glue to put the pens together and to finish them. And it was really good. I mean, I left them with kits, and I had more pen blanks than I knew what to do with down there. So they'll have pen blanks forever.
Yeah, the maker community is so generous with not only their time, but with supplies and with tools. And if a true craftsman, a true maker will be more than happy to lend you a hand.
Yeah.
And then you got a guy like Jimmy DeResta, he donates his hand-stitch sewing machine in his leather shop at camp, and that went through thick leather like butter.
Oh, that thing was really cool. Yeah, that was.
And then he ends up giving a hand crank print machine to Ryan Smith of Smith Makes, and it wasn't working at the time, but Ryan got it working, and he shows up every year at Maker Camp, so everybody can have a free poster of Maker Camp, and that's merch that is for no cost to a participant, which is fantastic.
It's kind of the thing to get. I mean, I make sure I walk over and get one of those first thing just so I have it.
Yeah, I waited till Sunday this year, and guess what? There were none there.
And I listened to your podcast with him, and I think it was your podcast, or maybe it was one before, but he was talking about I survived the Maker Camp monsoon, or whatever that one that he made after that first year.
That was, I think, with the Storyteller tab.
That's what it was. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And that's the podcast that Ethan and I have been on a couple of times. It's a fun time. Ethan had a fun time. I don't know if you remembered it, but he had a fun time. But anyway, but yeah, after he was like, I had the block there, and I was like, I should have gotten one of those. See if he'd have made one of those for me, because I think he enjoys, showing the way the machine works. So he would have probably gladly pulled that block out and printed a few of those. But I didn't get one. But it's okay. I get one of the ones every year. That at least the years that I was there. I got one for 2023, 22. Last year he was printing the back ones, and I didn't realize that I brought it home. And I told my wife, I'm like, I got 2 posters from this year. I got to figure out which one I want to keep. And then she was like, this one says 22, and I'm like, oh, I guess that's easy because I didn't go to that one, so I'm not going to keep it. I didn't want it because I didn't go to it, so it was okay.
So Ryan was great. I reached out to him and said that I wanted to have a poster for the podcast, and he said, yeah, have you ever made a block before? And I said, no. And he goes, yeah, make a block, bring it with you. We'll see if it works. And then I reached out to Dave Brewer, and Dave was giving me some pointers. And I reached back out to Ryan, and I said, I used MDF. And he was like, did you use MDFO? And I was like, no, I just did MDF, and I put Total Boat Halcyon on it and to seal it. And it worked great. And he let me do it. And I cranked out, about a dozen posters, so I was real happy with that.
That sounds fun. Yeah. That's an interest. I do a little bit of, I make all my own, like all the Deadrise t-shirts that I wear. I have a silk screen press, and learned, self-taught, off YouTube University, learned how to do that. So I keep that in the basement. If there's a t-shirt I want, or if I need, I'll crank out 5 or 6 Deadrise shirts, wear those until I destroy all of them, and then I just buy cheap t-shirts and print them all over again. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun when you can do it on your own.
Yeah.
So what are the other organizations that you're involved with?
I did do on my own kind of thing. I did a couple collaborations with other makers. So 2020, I'm trying to think, 2021, I believe, was the first one I did. I did a chess set. So I had the idea of doing a chess set where I would collaborate with 32 people, or 31, including myself, to make a different piece of the chess set, and then bring them all together, and then do you can't say raffle because you got to legally to do raffles or whatever. So waffle, whatever you want to call it. So to give it away to somebody. So I chose a LGBTQ organization here in Pittsburgh that helps homeless kids. So kids that are on the street for one reason or another, that are part of that community. I felt like it was a good cause. It's for kids, and I don't remember the total. I want to say I think it was $3,000 on selling the tickets and organizing it with 32 makers, because we're all generous. We're generous, but a lot of us are also procrastinators. I'm not one of those, but a lot of them are. So it took a lot of wrangling and organization of what piece was what and who was doing what and that kind of thing, and what I had already and what I didn't have. But it was fun. I had a good time doing it. I thought money went to a good cause. I actually went to that place, did a live video. I let them pick the ticket. So it was, I was completely out of it, and gave that away. Christy from Twisted Twine Woodworking, part of the Making Our Way podcast, won that. So she was super excited. I made the board, and then, like I said, 31 other people. I made a board in one piece, and then 31 other makers made different pieces.
And was it all made out of wood? Was it
whatever you wanted to use? You could use whatever. I had stuff made out of leather. I had recycled toilet parts or sink parts. I had wood. I had clay, metal. I think I said that 3D printed. I mean, whatever your medium was, whatever you felt comfortable using.
Wow.
As long as it was a chess piece and it was big enough to fit on it. I did have some parameters on how big I wanted stuff, just so I didn't have a monster piece.
Uniformed.
Yeah. It came out really great. I had fun doing that. So then 2 years later, my wife and I donate and volunteer at a local animal shelter that's close to us. We actually adopted our cat from there. I did another collaboration with I do the treescapes, but I thought it would be neat. My wife actually came up with the idea of doing, each maker makes a tree, and then I just put it together as a treescape. Same thing, I think I made for them a little over $2,000. That one I had a little more fun with. A ton of people donated different stuff. Like Nick Birchtold gave me 2 mallets. It was just a bunch. I had a bunch of side. So I had a lot of other things to give away other than just the one grand prize.
Wow.
But I had a ton of things, and it actually worked out that I had enough things to give something to everybody that donated money for the raffle. So if you had a ticket in for the main thing, you were guaranteed. Everybody got something, so you were guaranteed to win something that was donated as well. So it actually came out really nice. The only thing I think it was one person that didn't get anything, and then my father-in-law was like, he won a pen that I had made. So, because I made it, it was all random. You won whatever I pulled out before I pulled your name. And he happened to win a pen that I did. So he was just like, send that to that person. I don't need to win anything. And then there's a guy that makes mallets out of recycled plastic that he picks up off the beach in Hawaii. And so he sent me 2 mallets, one for the person that won and one for my father-in-law. So everybody ended up getting one. So it was really nice. Waffle Beaver's his name. He makes the mallet heads he makes really, really cool. But yeah, I've done that 2 years. This year should have been one, but I just had a lot going on, and it's a lot of organization. It takes a lot of time. People don't realize a lot of behind the scenes of organizing. Especially that of people were sending me stuff. I had to keep track of what I had, who bought tickets. The way I did it that year was the animal shelter has they have a fund for a new building. They're trying to build a new building because there's floods. And actually, I just posted over this week, Wednesday. Their building is done. They're on phase 2, which is the inside, and they're hoping to be in the building by early summer, late spring this year, or next year. That's where my money went. But they had a GoFundMe, or you could donate through their website. So I didn't touch the money at all this year, like I did the year before, because I didn't want to get in trouble with the whole raffle laws and that kind of thing. So all I did was say, go donate to them, send me a screenshot of what you donated, and then if you donate this amount of money, you got this many entries into the raffle for the treescape, and so on. I didn't touch the money at all. I didn't see it other than screenshots of what people sent me.
Yeah, that's great.
But it's still fun. It's real fun. I need to do it again. I need to figure out something. I may reach out. I was going to try to do another chess set this year as part of the Jesse Combs one.
Right.
But the same thing. I was just I did speak with her.
Tamara.
And we spoke back and forth with the email. Lee from the podcast got me in touch with her, and we spoke a couple of times on what we needed to do to kind of work that out. I was going to put the chess set together at camp. So not make the piece at camp, make your piece and bring it, because I didn't want to take away from your camp experience. But again, I was just so busy. I just didn't have time to organize it, and I told her that, and she understood, and it was fine. But I'm thinking about making something for that next year, maybe a bird sculpture or something like that. I got a couple ideas thinking about it. I just got to reach out to her, because I can't remember what you need to do to be a part of that.
Well, I happen to be a part of it this year, and
I was going to say, I thought you made something. I knew Ethan did, and I was like 99% sure you made something. So.
Yeah, I actually dropped it off the year prior, but Tamara talked to the board, and the board said that they were going to hold on to it for the gala because the Jesse Combs Foundation took on some new board members who are a little more focused on the philanthropic end of it. And while everybody in the maker community is very generous, they had a connection now with these new board members of a different level of donations.
That's understandable. I mean, you're trying to make as much money as possible. Absolutely, take it to that event.
So it was able to get to the next level that they raised more than they ever have in the past few years, which was great for the foundation and for what they do with getting young women involved in the trades. I'm just listening to all of the different organizations that you're involved in and how you're taking your craft skills and you're making connections through philanthropic ventures. And it's not just turning pens to blow off some steam and giving them away as birthday gifts or Christmas gifts. You're actually affecting lives and improving your community, whether it's in Pittsburgh or it's friends that you've met and you've built a relationship with, or it's the guy who's in New England and you get together with him once or twice a year and just give him a hand because he's your friend. That's really admirable.
And that's another thing I've done. Dean Duplantis down in Houston, we became really good friends as well. And he moved to a brand new shop a few weeks, months, maybe something like that. Right after they moved, hurricane hit, knocked a hole in his shop, poured water in on everything he owned.
Yeah, I saw that.
And so I reached out to him the day after, and I'm like, hey, you say the word, I'll be on an airplane down to help you. And he was like, don't come down here. That's just, it's not the time. We don't have electricity. I appreciate it, and I'll let you know. I don't remember how much longer that was, but he was at home one day and he texted me, he's like, you ready to come now? And I'm like, yeah. So he's like, find a flight. I got you. Come on down, spend the weekend. We'll, I'll put you to work. And I'm like, yeah, put me to work. This isn't, I'm not there to hang out. I'm there to work.
Right.
So I've been down there twice more since that trip.
Wow.
And pretty much we got his shop back up and running, which was, I thought I had a great time doing it. The last time we went was more of just a hangout trip as a thank you, I think is what he was kind of doing for that one.
But a shared experience to
Yeah.
help a friend, that's not even a heavy lift. Even if you are lifting heavy things, it's what makes you the person that you are.
Yeah, we had a great time. I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed seeing his shop come back together and seeing him get back on his feet, making stuff. And yeah, it feels good to do that. It really does.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I'm glad that the original technical difficulties happened, because I think that this is a much better podcast today. I got to know you better. I do have one more question to ask you before I ask you some rapid fire questions. Are you related to the governor of California?
No, I'm not. I am related to a Gavin Newsom. My great nephew's named Gavin Newsom. But I spell mine with an E at the end. And then the Gavin Newsom I'm related to is I think he's 10. So not the governor.
He could probably run the state. I would vote for him.
But yes, it's spelled differently.
All right, let me ask you rapid fire questions.
And before you start, just like you, I wouldn't want to be related to anybody or associate with anybody from. I'm just joking. That one guy from California, at least. I know at least one guy that I don't associate with or pretend to know anyway, outside of Maker Camp.
He lets us be in the tent on occasion if we're there early enough.
Yeah, he gives you a hard time, but I can give it back pretty good. So.
What is your favorite drink in the shop?
I'm not a big drinker, but in the shop, water. If I'm in there watching a Steeler game, I may have a beer here or there. Usually not when I'm working with the tools, but if I'm messing around, straightening up, cleaning, and the Steeler game's on, maybe a beer, but mostly water. I'm a water drinker.
Good. All right, pizza or tacos?
I know this was coming because you already asked me last time, and I told him this. I said to make Andy Berkey happy, I was going to say tacos, but both of those things are so versatile. You could eat one of those for the rest of your life, because either can be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. But it's hard for me to give up a good taco.
All right, tacos it is. What's your favorite tool in the toolbox?
In my shop, I would say absolutely the lathe. I have a pretty small shop, so I don't have many tools, but it's the one I enjoy using the most. I'm sure I can hurt myself pretty good. I feel like it's the safest of the things that I own.
The lathe?
Yeah, but that's the way I feel. It's what I tell my wife anyway. So yes, I know that you can get hurt if you're not paying attention with a lathe, but it's not a saw that can maim.
You're also not turning 12-foot porch poles.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah, that lathe. I've seen that up close at Jimmy's house, and that lathe I would be a little intimidated with. That was a monster machine. But yeah, I would definitely say the lathe.
You need a lot of ink to fill that 12-foot pen.
I was looking at that machine when I was there during Maker Camp, and that was an impressive lathe. That was crazy.
Who would you collaborate with if you could work with anybody you wanted?
Honestly, I don't know, because I've done a lot of collaborations with, not a lot, but with people that I thought I'd never be near or even in contact with. But I don't know. I really don't.
That's okay.
Yeah.
What about you? What about a dream project? What's the one project that you would really want to do if money or time was not a factor?
I would like to do maybe like a dining room table, not obviously the river table in Live Edge has kind of run its course, but there's something about again, if I want to go back to Jimmy's shop, but like that piece of wood that he made, that table for his leatherworking shop with those steel legs, they were just, that piece of wood is just so gorgeous. I'd love to have something like that in the dining room, but yeah, I just don't have the room in my shop to build or the tools to even attempt something like that. But that would be something I would do.
Yeah, you just spend a weekend up at Jimmy's. It'd be fun.
And the bad thing is if you asked him, he would probably say, come on up.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. Well, Emmett, thanks so much for being on Create and Connect. Thanks for taking the time, a second time, to make this happen. And thank you for volunteering and doing the heavy lifting so the talent can just walk in and take all the glory at the Weaver tent.
Yep, it's a hard job being underappreciated by the talent, but you know, he does give me a bed to lay in and you know, a way to get into maker camp. So I guess I'm paid in some sort of way. But
you had so many puns that were going on this whole entire time, and I'm trying to keep it clean. If we get a third time at this, it's gonna. I think it's gonna be a way different conversation.
Well, I'll have to come back the next time I do another collaboration raffle, even if I do the Maker Camp chess set with the Jesse Combs Foundation.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd like to see that.
I think that'd be really fun to get some of the people at camp. I'm sure I could find 31 crazy people to make something and bring it.
You can find more than that, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Emmett. I appreciate it.
Tom, thank you again for having me a second time. And if you need fill some time, ask me again.
All right, great.
All right, brother.